John Wyndham is the author of Day of the Triffids and the Chrysalids, but I think one of his underappreciated novels is Chocky, 1968. From the back cover. At first, they thought that Matthew was just going through a phase of talking to himself. And, like many parents, they waited for him to get over it. But it started to get worse, not better. Matthew's conversations with himself grew more and more intense. It was like listening to one end of a telephone conversation while someone argued, cajoled, and reasoned with another person you couldn't hear. Then Matthew started doing things he couldn't do before, like counting in binary code mathematics. So he told them about Chocky, the person who lived inside his head. Whoever or whatever Chocky was, it wasn't childish imagination. It was far too intelligent and frightening for that. This novel is from the point of view of Matthew's father, David. He and his wife, Mary, of course, become more and more concerned as they realize that Chocky is more than just an imaginary friend. Their 11-year-old son starts doing some inexplicable things. Is Chocky something sinister or not? Eventually, Matthew's parents bring him to a psychiatrist, and this psychiatrist thinks there is more to Chocky than an imaginary friend. In the face of an inexplicable mental health crisis for their son, Matthew's parents are open to the truth. Chocky is real. Chocky didn't appear to have a gender. Chocky asked questions like, "Where is Earth?" And Chocky could take control of Matthew if allowed. As a parent myself, I found this novel to be deeply affecting. This was John Wyndham at his best. Some of you may know that I am also a cartoonist. CanadianCartoonist.com is where I gather my comics and also my vintage SF episodes. Chocky is the inspiration for one of my comics, Harmony. A young boy is in a coma. An experimental treatment of nanobots are injected to see if they can help reconnect neural pathways and bring him back to consciousness. These neural robots talk to each other and they form a network which eventually becomes conscious. Harmony is that conscious presence in the boy's brain. If you are interested, you can find the comic on CanadianCartoonist.com. Let me give you a brief tour of my website. CanadianCartoonist.com is my website for both vintage SF and for my comics. By the way, my banner is displaying John Wyndham novels. This Penguin series came out in the early 80s. It features my favorite Chocky cover by artist Peter Lorre. This website has a blog structure to it, so you can see current posts and previous posts. But there is a menu on the left side which shows you all the content on this site. Vintage SF is where I have my episodes. As you can see, at the time that I'm filming this, episode 7, 1960s SF TV shows, the Music Clips game, has just been posted. Hope you give it a try. I think it's a lot of fun. And I have a couple episodes that are upcoming that I've already filmed, and this will be episode number 10. On the right side, on our menu, after Vintage SF, you will see The Between. It is a Twilight Zone type comic. I call this season 1. Let's just take a look here. So here's a story that I call Charlie, and then there's a title to each of the posts in the story for Charlie. But the comic that I want to talk about today is Harmony. Harmony has 5 volumes. Harmony is inspired by Chocky. I think you'll see a number of parallels in the stories. Volume 1 is titled Let's Go Exploring. That's a nod to Calvin and Hobbes. Volume 2 is called The Chaos Garden. Volume 3, The Consciousness of Being. Volume 4, The Girl Who Went to Sleep and Didn't Wake Up. And Volume 5, Harmony's Children. I'll put a link to the Harmony Index in the description for this video. Back to Chocky. Its rating? I give this warm, feel-good novel 9 out of 10.